Hi, my name is Ernest, and we will be discussing about the gradebook. It is important for an educator to have the ability to use and set up the gradebook so that he could record and monitor the learner's assessments. And for this video, I will teach you how to set up the grade settings in a Moodle activity. So let's start. The first thing you have to do is go to your course, obviously, and you need to turn on the editing part. So turn editing on here on the upper right corner of the screen of the courseware. And let's say select a tile or lesson topic that you want to create an activity. So add an activity or resource. Now, you have several activities here. You have Edpuzzle, H5P, and you have your normal quiz, etc. etc. But well, let's try to make it simple. Let's go to the assignment. Okay. So let's just come up with the name for an assignment. Let's say one. Okay, A1. So we will try to skip on the many settings because we want to focus mainly on the grade settings of an activity. So you will see there are many things that you could actually change in the grade settings. The first one is, you can see there, it's the type. You have two types. It's either scale or point. Now when you say point, the learner could receive a grade, an actual number or points. And we could change it to, let's say, 10 points. And if you want a scale, you could do a scale. For the grading method, you have ways on how to grade the learner. Either it could be a simple direct grading. And what does that mean? You could directly grade the learner. You simply write the number on a blank blank bar or a grading bar, 10, 9, 8, 7, etc. Or you could also do what is commonly used in schools, rubrics. You have a rubric and then just click the rubrics, and later or in another video we could demonstrate that. And also, you could also use a marking guide. You have a marking guide and you just simply check whether the learner gets that score or not. So let's try the simple direct grading. And grade category. Now this is important if you have already set up in the gradebook, which is intended for another video, whether it's a formative assessment, a performance task, a lesson activity, etc. It depends on how you categorize. So let's say, because this is in the tile of performance task, that this is a form of a performance task. Now you have here a blank space, no? What is the grade the learner should get in order for her to pass that activity? Now later, this is important especially for quizzes, because in activity completion, in some activities, in the activity completion, you could actually prevent a learner from proceeding to another activity unless he passed a certain activity. So you could either put or leave it blank if you want, or you want to write down there grade to pass, just to sort of also indicate in the grade book whether the learner has passed or not a certain activity, because it will have a different color from a passing score. So let's say 6. So unanimous submissions, if you don't want to be biased towards a learner's name, so you could write there yes, okay, place there yes, or hide grader identity from students, because sometimes a courseware has multiple teachers in it, and but then in our case, it's usually no, because it's the teacher of a certain section that grades the learner. And use marking for workflow. This is for learners whether if you read the definition here, if this one is enabled, the marks will go through a series of flow stages before being released to students. So it's more or less for students. Uh, it's sort of, well, you could see first activity 1 before you could see activity 2. So that's it. That's how to set up the grade settings. It's quite simple, very easy, very user friendly. So thank you, and I hope you've learned something today.